Twas. Okay.
What's poppin', low gang? I'm your boy Douglas. This is John. We are the skeptical enthusiasts, and we're about to dive into some of the cringiest things you have seen.
Also, it's 7-Eleven. I feel like that just...
This is 7-Eleven. That's something that
7-Eleven. According to my computer, it's 7-Eleven.
is 7-Eleven
for
pretty here.
4 days from Christmas. That's pretty ridiculous.
It is so close to Christmas, and yet it doesn't feel like Christmas.
It really doesn't. Also, by the way, it's like 60 degrees outside.
It is.
What
okay.
the crap?
So I came, right? And I had to only wear a sweatshirt today. I'm like, boy, it's 4 days before Christmas. It's not cold outside.
Yeah, there's so much for a white Christmas. It's like a friggin' beach Christmas. Like, what the crap?
But speaking of Christmas,
Merry Chrysler.
we have some great gifts coming our way in the form of a YouTuber. You may have heard of him.
Just maybe.
Just maybe Idubbbz. This man.
How many subscribers does he have?
7.2 million, I think.
7.2.
Oh,
That sounds about
that's
right.
about right.
It's definitely in the 6 million range here. I'll yoink that up.
You'll yoink that up.
Okay. His main channel had 2.7 million plus. What the crap are you talking about? 7.1 million.
I was gonna say
I mean, I know it is technically more than 2.7 million, but like, why YouTube?
just YouTube. YouTube is retarded.
That is a lot of views. Holy
That is
crap.
a lot of views. But
what was 35 million views on the Leafy content cop, and then 38 on the Jake Paul content cop.
Okay,
that is a lot of views.
I have a lot to talk about.
That's a lot of damage.
That video. That's like the only video out there that I'm okay with being clickbaited on. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I mean,
It's a bit out of date now, but anybody who was there when it was uploaded, it was so perfect.
It was so perfect. And it was like we haven't heard of Idubbbz. Like during that time, like Idubbbz hasn't been out. Like he's been like undercover. He's been like out of it for like a few months. So he just comes out of nowhere with freaking Jake Paul content cop.
Yeah.
38 million views.
30, and then this track has like 30, and then the response has like another 20.
20 million.
Oh my gosh.
That video is
crap,
so amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I have so much to talk about.
Okay. Firstly, I think one common misconception is that he says anything.
What do you mean?
He's not like some random rapper that'll just come out and say whatever, the N-word or whatever, in any context. I think he's much more of a mathematical and very precise person. If he's going to say something offensive, it has been very well calculated beforehand.
Yeah, the thing about Idubbbz is that like every joke he says is like he thinks about 10 times over before even like putting on paper.
Well, that's why it takes so long between uploads. Still not JonTron long, but
oh my gosh,
it takes a while. Oh, that's a mega.
That's a topic in itself. And
that doesn't. It's not like that, but everything he says is very well contemplated, and his humor definitely lends itself to that after all these years of being like that, I'd say. But it's clear that he puts effort into stuff and doesn't just... He puts the research in. He doesn't just go after people for no reason.
I remember my favorite quote, like what he said was, like in the Jake Paul content cop, he like went out of his way to tell ricegum that he was not calling him out because he was being a jerk. He was just calling out because he believes everyone deserves to be criticized.
Yeah.
And like I find that interesting because like you see here that like he doesn't have anything personal against ricegum. He doesn't hate ricegum. He's just saying everyone deserves to be criticized, and he thinks here's what ricegum should do to improve his channel.
Yeah. That is that's something that a lot of people don't do anymore. They just go straight for the throat for some reason.
It's also ironic too, because like ricegum wanted to have a content cop done on him, but the moment Idubbbz does a content cop on him, ricegum gets like all angry about it, right? And he just starts like going on rants about Jake Paul. I mean, not Jake Paul. He goes on rants about Idubbbz. It's like, really, dude, really?
Yeah. Well, ricegum is ricegum. He's not the oldest person ever.
That's fair.
Ricegum is just like dollar store Filthy Frank, but a lot less funny.
I don't think I've ever seen a video where he was funny.
Yeah, I think I've seen like 3 of his videos. Brian Lee. That's such an Asian name, by
Brian
the way.
Lee.
He is very Asian looking.
He is very Asian looking,
Nationality, American. He's American, but he's still very Asian.
He is.
I'll give him props for making fun of It's Everyday, bro, but that's not exactly the hardest thing
to do. That's not really much of a...
literally everyone did.
That's not really much of a bar
to be said. Ow, my ears. Can you... Okay, jeez. I got ear raped by his friggin' channel intro.
That's an oof.
That is an oof. 10.8 million. That's ridiculous. What's the like-dislike ratio on this?
On ricegums?
Nah, I'm talking about the one video. No, not... Oh, for crap's sake. 2.6 to 600,000. Okay, fine. That's fine. Why is this better than 2018 YouTube Rewind? Yeah, because that's such a high bar. That doesn't really...
Anything can be better than YouTube Rewind 2018, honestly.
Oh, look, he's got a friggin' Lamborghini. You're so special.
Oh, what a shocker. Ricegum has a Lamborghini.
Probably rented it, too.
Okay, what's really funny about Ricegum's diss track against Idubbbz is in his videos, Idubbbz says all Ricegum does in his music videos is talk about his wealth and talk about the ladies he puts into his diss track. And then Ricegum immediately makes a diss track against Idubbbz where he puts Lamborghinis in his music video and talks about how wealthy he is and puts women in his music video. I'm like, dude.
I think that may have been a underwhelming attempt at comedy. I think it may have been, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
It was not, I'm not saying it was well executed. I'm saying that I think he was self-aware about that.
If he was self-aware, I don't think he knows how to make jokes.
He doesn't know how to put a joke together near as well as Idubbbz. He just responded with the video as fast as he could. He didn't actually put time into it.
Which is weird, because, like, I don't think Idubbbz made that video and he was done. He wasn't going to do anything else, and I don't know why Ricegum felt like he had to make something and send it out right away.
The thing, there's 2 types of drama on YouTube, and there's, the fashion drama that, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Ricegum, those kind of people that they do only for views. And then there's Idubbbz kind of drama where he goes for the throat, hopes you fix yourself, and never comes back. He's not in it for the views.
Yeah, that's what I like about Idubbbz is that he actually critiques you. Yeah.
Now, most people don't pay attention to it, but what are you going to do there?
Really, honestly.
Because they always just assume that it's the childish kind of drama.
Yeah.
Because nobody else does that critiquing type of drama on YouTube.
That is true, yeah. It's honestly, like, pretty top tier right there.
Yeah. It's rare. There's like 4 channels on YouTube that are legendary simply because they put the work in and nothing else. They don't really have that much talent, like, from birth or anything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Idubbbz, Filthy Frank, H3H3, Max Mofo, those kinds of people.
Yeah.
They don't just have some inherent talent that they were born with that makes them better than people. They just simply put the work in, and that got them large. H3H3 is not in the same league as Idubbbz or Filthy Frank. They're a good channel, but it's not the same by any means.
Well, yeah, H3H3, the great thing about him is I think he knows how... He's very impromptu. He knows how to make good, funny jokes on the spot. Unlike most of these other channels. on YouTube.
Yeah, and he does have that going for him, but Idubbbz makes some pretty fire jokes on the spot, as well as Filthy Frank did, and it's kind of like,
Filthy Frank,
just that they put in the extra effort.
Filthy Frank is like on another dimension.
Yeah, he really is. He's 26. That's ridiculous.
I can't believe,
the kind of crap he's already moved. He's already taken over an industry and moved out of it by the time he's 26.
Big facts. Oh man, I miss that guy.
I really hope that they monetize the much more offensive content on YouTube.
They're not going to.
I doubt it. If nothing else, I hope another website takes it over.
That's the thing. We talked about that. Not obviously this is our first video, but in private we've talked about how like you have websites like Pornhub, for example, that they do get monetized, right? Yeah. And they do get
there's a market.
There's a market. So what I don't understand is that YouTube refuses to recognize this market, even though I'm sure most advertisers probably wouldn't care, right?
Yeah.
Because
they don't want to be liable for stuff that probably wouldn't happen to begin with.
Exactly.
Like, there's just no, I don't know. They're way too conservative about it.
They are.
Is really unfortunate considering who they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been pretty recent on YouTube, but it's like, you hear of all these. If you look at Bo Burnham, he knows what kind of crap's been around on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
he's been on it for quite a few years now, and into it for quite a few years now. But it's just the kind of thing that all this weird, edgy stuff doesn't get rewarded on YouTube, and that's unfortunate because that's where all the effort and talent is.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Because, I mean, all these Spider-Man and Elsa channels, they're worthless. They take no effort. Ricegum just has money to pay people to do stuff for him. I'm sure he has some talent, but it's not any that he shows. He's not a good singer. It's all auto-tune.
Now I mentioned that he has a ghostwriter that he refuses to recognize.
He did kind of recognize him eventually, from my understanding.
Kind of, but he still said that he did do a lot of the raps and that he does take time to write out his music. I'm just like, buddy, just stop, please. Well, here's the thing. Going back on the topic of Bo Burnham, you have a man like that, right? Yes. And if you look at his content, a lot of what he does isn't really too different from like Filthy Frank, but it's how he presents that content. You know what I mean?
Bo Burnham is 6'5"? I don't believe that.
He's 6'5"?
There's no way. There is no way.
I don't believe
he's 28. That I believe. I believe that he's 28.
He's really 6'5".
The thing about Bo Burnham, top 10 Bo Burnham song. No, Watch Mojo. No. I swear. That's a whole other video.
That's just a rant in itself. I could rant about Watch Mojo for hours.
Yeah, for real. Regardless, the thing, he uploaded his stuff to YouTube, but he's not a YouTuber. And that's why he's successful. That's the thing.
That makes sense,
because it was just funny enough and just offensive enough that some of the albums can be done as comedy tours, whereas, like, try performing Human Cake or Hair Cake on a comedy tour. That would not work.
I would pay to see that. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, it'd be pretty hilarious for sure, but it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work, yeah.
As funny as it would be, it doesn't work in that kind of. So 2016 was his last. Also, he directed a movie now.
Wait, what? When did he direct a movie?
Yeah, he directed a movie. So by 28, this dude's ridiculous.
This guy.
Regardless, it doesn't matter because he's done everything predominantly on not YouTube, and that's why he's still making money off of it.
I mean, he did a lot of Vines though. I know he was a huge Viner.
Yeah, but Vine doesn't really care about anything.
They don't, but there's not many Viners out there who become who get into the mainstream media.
That is true. Well, except when Vine was the mainstream media.
When it was, I think it's a lot more mainstream now, but like Vine is pretty much shut down at this point.
Well, Vine is shut
Well,
down.
yeah, it's been shut down for a long time, but that's the thing though. Like, I feel like a lot of what Bo Burnham does is kind of like what Filthy Frank does, but Bo Burnham presents it differently. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what does he do that's the same exactly?
Well, he makes really offensive jokes. He has songs dedicated to talking about killing yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty edgy, as the kids say.
Yeah, it's pretty edgelord. A lot of sexual references, similar to how Filthy Frank does it, but the way he presents it.
Filthy Frank was a lot less sexual than you may expect.
Yeah, it depends. I guess it depends.
It all depends on the video.
Yeah.
Sure. But it's not. It wasn't just all spam of sexual jokes.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of really disgusting things for 90% of it. 43 million views.
That's also true, yeah. It was disgusting, but it was art. I'm not sure exactly what it was.
Yeah, I think art is... we'll go with it.
We'll go with art for now. I have not seen his new music videos, though. I mean, I've seen them on my YouTube.
I still support him as a person, not so much what he's doing, just because,
Yeah.
I'd have to be really stoned to listen to his music.
That's what I've heard a lot of people
say.
That's
what it feels like.
I've heard a lot of people say you have to be high to listen to his music.
And that's what it sounds like, that's for sure.
I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to get at, though.
That may be what he's going for. Yeah, I don't know. I think Bo Burnham rode the line perfectly and didn't do it all on YouTube. Because, I mean, if he started all this crap on YouTube and stayed there, he'd be done.
Yeah.
He'd be gone right now. He'd go the way of Filthy Frank or Idubbbz.
Obviously.
Idubbbz is still alive, but, like, ultimately not making near as much money as he should be.
Big fact, so. I think that... Yeah, I think I see what you're saying, but Bo Burnham... I think he definitely wanted to be more in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Not to be on YouTube. So obviously that explains why his content is different to some extent.
Yeah.
I would be interested to know exactly what Bo Burnham would be like if he actually, instead of going that route, he was on YouTube. That would be interesting.
I think he'd make a lot less money, for sure.
Yeah, definitely, but his content would be... I wonder if his content would probably be different, though.
I don't think it would be that much different, though. I don't know. There's just not much, like... What would you do? Because clearly he's into the comedy songs.
Yeah.
I think he'd just do them and upload them to YouTube. It'd just be a different form of upload, not so much different content. Because he's never going to go a how to basic route.
Oh
my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So all you need to do to get 10 million subs is be on YouTube throwing eggs for 10 years.
I swear, if I knew that's what it took to make a living off YouTube, I would have
done that so long ago.
I would have grabbed my phone and just started throwing eggs all over the place.
For real. How to basic is a whole other mystery.
How to basic is his own person. I don't think you can classify him in any genre. I think he's just his own genre.
I think you could classify him as slapstick. He's definitely slapstick. He's not that groundbreaking.
I would. Yeah, I guess you could classify him as slapstick.
He is 100% slapstick. It's interesting, but like,
very beautiful slapstick.
Yeah. It's very interesting, but yeah, I don't know. I think Bo Burnham would have been the same on YouTube.
I guess so, yeah.
Just with a lot less money.
I think it's fair to say.
Or he would have stopped doing what he's doing because he couldn't sustain himself on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. I feel
But
like
then again, Bo
wouldn't have,
Burnham was huge a couple years ago, and YouTube wasn't near as strict a couple years ago.
I think he would be able to make it big on YouTube though, and make at least some sort of money.
I think if more people were on YouTube like that, YouTube may have been less restricting. Because, I mean, it's one thing for somebody like PewDiePie to push back, but it's another thing if Bo Burnham releases a song that slams YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a whole different caliber of crap for YouTube to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think that could affect them a lot more, especially if you talk about a bunch of people doing so.
Definitely.
It's an interesting phenomenon. I don't know.
It is.
But yeah, they're just kind of suppressing the talent on YouTube, ultimately.
YouTube doesn't care about talent.
They just care about money.
They care about money.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't blame them. It's annoying.
Yeah. Because, okay, let's go about 6 minutes longer, till just about exactly 30. In the meantime, where do you think YouTube's gonna go, and how is it gonna play out? Because it looks like the YouTube that, you know, is hip and cool and not unfiltered. It's not the dark web, but it was close. There's
was
some weird
close.
crap on YouTube. Where do you think it's going? Because clearly that's disappearing.
That is disappearing. I mean,
some people would make a free speech argument. I wouldn't, technically. It's kind of suppression. I think if the people that make that kind of edgy content were on YouTube, were getting paid on YouTube, it would encourage it a lot more, and we'd see a lot more talent currently. But I think once that goes away, you can't expect everyone to do it specifically for the sake of art. That's the problem. Filthy Frank did it for quite a few years. If you know Rags, he does it just...
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Rags.
To be himself, pretty much. That's the whole point. But not a lot of people are going to do that. That's the thing. That's why you even know their names, because not a lot of people do it.
Well, I mean, we actually had that conversation in my communication class about free speech on social media. And basically, the one argument against censorship is that places like YouTube and Facebook are basically utilities, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, they're less of a private company, more of a utility, and therefore they don't have the right to do that. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but kind of going on to what you said, that definitely makes sense. I mean, obviously, Filthy Frank and Idubbbz are big because not many people out there do stuff like the bizarre stuff Filthy Frank did.
Yeah.
But I feel YouTube is obviously trying to be like TV. I think that's pretty clear. They're trying to push with stuff like YouTube Red, with YouTube Originals. They're pushing more talk show hosts on YouTube. So
I mean, have you seen the ads for that one show where it's like now on YouTube?
Oh my gosh, I don't care. I've been seeing this,
and it's not even just a YouTube Red kind of thing. It was like an actual show that they're hosting on YouTube. I think
that cartoon thing.
I believe so. Yeah.
I've seen that. It's like now on YouTube. I'm like, when I say now on YouTube, it feels like they're referring to it as if it's some sort of TV program. I'm like,
because it is. Actually. It is. That's the thing.
And that's what's so annoying, because YouTube, they don't want to be what they have been for the past decade or two. They want to be with the big boys. The quote-unquote big boys.
That's the thing, as Empleman so graciously puts it. They want to appeal to the normies and not the outsiders.
But the thing is, most normies don't... I mean, a lot of normies don't watch YouTube religiously to the point that YouTube makes money off them.
Yes, but there's so much more of them than there are outsiders. The problem is... The normies will slowly migrate into new medias, whereas the outsiders, we're just always hopping around. When something gets boring, you gotta change, or we're out within like a year tops. We're gone. So the money is in the normies, and YouTube's recognizing that. But the thing is, the thing that created YouTube was always the outsiders, just like every other social media, pretty much, except possibly Facebook.
Facebook was created for normies, basically.
It's not the outsiders. You just can't sustain a whole platform off of them. There's no company that's large enough to appeal to a mass market that can change as quickly as outsiders need for it to be entertaining to them.
Well, here's the problem, though. Like, at the end of the day, YouTube is Google's least financially successful company, and they basically break even every year on YouTube. So I think I see the reason why they want to become.
They are going up. I'm fairly certain.
I'm fairly certain, probably to some extent, but not as big as they need to. So I think part of the reason why they want to appeal to normies is because they just simply can't afford to be with outsiders. Yeah, that's where the money is at.
That's where the money's at. Yeah, they want to turn it into a business rather than just, something to do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think creativity will be suppressed in favor of monetary gain, which for a business is completely reasonable. That said, when that happens to, the most utter extent, I'm out because it's not going to be entertaining content on YouTube anymore. The good stuff, I think JonTron can still survive, but people like H3H3, Idubbbz, Filthy Frank, all of them, they're just going to be gone because YouTube completely ignores the fact that, hey, we can advertise to both sides of it.
Yeah.
The thing is, YouTube doesn't have to reorganize themselves every single year to appeal to these people.
Exactly.
All they have to do is let their channels do it for them, which they haven't been doing. That's the problem, is they could appeal to both sides so incredibly easily just by getting more mature advertisers. And to be clear, you don't have to be a more mature channel to be advertiser friendly, but it's that, or no, not to be advertiser friendly, but to be creative. But that's just where it seems to be so far, is people, when you get to fully express yourself, that's where creativity actually shines. That's the problem there. But if they marketed that and advertised that, then I think they could make money out of both sides, but they're just completely ignoring that.
I think I'm kind of like what you said. I feel like every time YouTube tries to do something, they always get hate for it, right? Because they're doing something that their fans don't want.
Yeah.
Which is exactly kind of what you're saying. If you just let the channels do it for, they don't really have to do much. If you just let the channels do it for them, they can become very successful and a lot more liked than what they currently are.
Yeah.
And
that's the problem. It's just like they completely ignore it. I guess they've been hated on for so long that they just started ignoring it and thinking it was just some personal attack like every other moronic YouTuber does.
It's just so annoying because then they say stuff like, "Hey, we're listening. Hey, we're listening to what you have to say, and we promise that we will improve the site." And then they pull stuff like YouTube Rewind 2018. And you're like, "Well, are you?"
It would have been better if they straight up literally didn't have a YouTube Rewind this year.
It would have been a lot better.
Would have been fantastic. But they didn't. They thought it was necessary. All they do is they say how they're working on something, and they never actually show that they're working on something. It's ridiculous.
It is.
Oh, look, they're doing something else. And
oh,
like,
boy.
No.
And then you got things like the Adpocalypse, which kicks in if YouTube never bothered trying to force themselves into our situation. We wouldn't have stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I think we might have to be cutting it close soon.
Yeah. Let us yoink.
Let us yoink. Anyway, thank you for watching this podcast. We are the Skeptical Enthusiasts. My name is Douglas. This is John. Remember, subscribe to PewDiePie. Subscribe to Jake Paul.
Exactly. Especially Jake Paul.
Especially Jake Paul.
The real source of quality on YouTube.
He is very much the sort of... I have not heard much from Jake Paul in a long time.
He's been doing the same thing for quite a while
Okay,
now.
so he's just being an
appealing
idiot.
to children. Yeah. He hasn't, killed anybody or filmed anybody that killed themselves or anything.
Gone into a suicide forest.
He might have burned somebody's house down for all I know, but that's still not enough to be recognized.
That's a shame, though. I really wish we had more content on Jake Paul. That'd be fun.
I know.
Anyway, I love you. You love me. I don't know where I'm going with this, but...
Right into the ground.
Right into the ground. That's right. And we'll see you probably sometime next week. Peace out, friends.